Good evening, everybody. My name is Carl Mulder, and I'm the flagman here. Thank you all for coming tonight for our 53rd birthday. Now, we know racing comes with its thrills and spills, and there's always an element of danger that, I don't know, drivers or track officials put behind us or choose to ignore. And then something happens that brings it all to a pretty stunning reality. There's a track in southern Ontario called Flamborough Speedway, and I spent many a Saturday night there. Last Saturday, two cars touched each other going down the front straightaway, causing one car to become airborne, and sadly it struck the flag tower. The drivers were okay, but the flagman died because of his injuries. I knew him not well. I raced against him, raced with him. He started flagging when he hung up the helmet, much like I did, but a few years later. So, from Victory Lane Speedway and all of us here, we just want to say to Flamborough Speedway, especially to the McLean family, and to John and Frank Caselli, the owners of the track, and all of their staff, that we offer our condolences, and our thoughts and prayers are with you as you try to move forward with this heavy, heavy loss. So that being said, could I ask everybody to please stand, and we'll observe a moment of silence for Doug McLean. Wave him home, Gerald. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, drivers. Rest in peace, Doug. You may have waved your last flag and it's on the ground, but the rest of us stickmen, we will carry on doing what you love to do. Thank you, everybody. We will get on with the evening now.
Thank you, Carl. All right, folks, and now at this time, I ask that you please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthems. Thank you, folks. All right, as Carl mentioned, tonight is no ordinary night. Tonight is Victory Lane Speedway's 53rd birthday. And to celebrate our birthday bash, we're doing plenty of things, not the least of which, giving away free birthday cake. When I checked just now, we still had a few pieces left. So if you head on back there right next to the beer vendor, you might be one of the last people to pick up a piece of cake. But for now, let's get on with some racing, huh? This is the first of 4 heat races for the MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars. 6 vehicles in this one. Let's go over your scheduled starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, the 45, driven by Dave Rogers. On the inside is the 46 of Michael Kopp. Outside of row 2 is the 07 HD of Bentley McCuskey. Tommy Fair in the 21F is on the inside. And in your front row on the outside is the 47 of Jeff Kopp. And on the inside, number 16, Tobin Keefe. 8 laps on the board for your first race of the night. Good start for Tobin Keefe. He's got that 47 of Jeff Kopp right on his tail. Contact there between and the 07 HD of Bentley McCuskey. Thankfully, we avoid any kind of spin out or anything like that. 5.5 to go. Tobin Keefe is looking good out in front. Battle for third going on right now between the 46 of Michael Kopp and Bentley McCuskey in the 07 HD. All right, folks, coming out of turn 4, let's hear it for your winner, Tobin Keefe. Rounding out the top 3, Jeff Kopp in the 47 and Michael Kopp in the 46, but that car is not looking too good right about now. Well, if all of these vehicles can make it, and it's looking like Michael Kopp's might not, they'll all be heading to the appraisalpro.ca scale in this division. The MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada Stock Cars, they need to reach a minimum weight of 3,200 pounds. Looks like Michael Kopp might need some help out there to get back to the pits. If you are getting some birthday cake back there, get a ticket to enter a draw for a free kids skateboard. Not sure how many tickets are left, but go and try your luck, eh? Five vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 3, the number 1 of Evan Marchand out of Niverville, Manitoba. On the outside of row number 2, Rylan Enting out of Winkler driving the 17E. Caitlin Somack in the number 8 is on the inside. Caitlin's out of West St. Paul. And in your front row on the outside, Derek Poirier in the number 3 out of St. Adolphe. And on the inside, the 207 of Justin Krause from Richer. I was just informed there's a bit of oil on the track. We're going to take care of that and get the races back underway. We got another giveaway to tell you about. If you buy a Truly tonight, you'll get a ticket to win a Truly umbrella. We'd also like to thank the University of Manitoba Society of Automotive Engineers. They're doing the 50-50 tonight. You'll find them in their black t-shirts, walking around the stands with their orange buckets. You can't miss them. And the live DJ making all that noise behind me is courtesy of Crystal Sound. At intermission, not only will we have the Roll Projects candy toss for the kids, there's also going to be a dance-off right next to the DJ booth. Again, that's at intermission. The Roll Projects candy toss will be happening here at the flag stand, and the kids' dance-off will be right next to the DJ booth. Carl's rolled up green flag means he's going to let him loose in 1 lap. 8 laps to go here in heat race number 2 on the night. That's the number 3, Derek Poirier, not a happy camper right now, bringing out track caution. Got a bit of damage on the rear of that car, but he might be, is he going to stay out? He sure is, yeah. He's going to keep on racing. That's Caitlin Somack in the number 8 needing some help with something. She gets the thumbs up. She's good to go. Justin Kraus in the 207, developing a big lead over the rest of the field, but plenty of time left in this one. All right, Derek Poirier exited the track down to just 2 here in the second heat race on the night. Hey, if you finish the race, you're guaranteed a podium, not bad. All right, folks, let's hear it for your winner, Justin Kraus. And right behind him, finishing in second, the number 1 of Evan Marchand. Scheduled for this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 3, the 08 of Lucas Elias out of Winnipeg. On the outside of row number 2, Tyler Fair in the 5F out of Rosengart, Manitoba. On the inside, the 23R of Ryan Mayman out of Winnipeg. And in your front row on the outside, Riley Klim in the 6 out of Dugald. And Adam Turner's on the inside driving the 16T out of Marchand. Number 6, losing it here on the front straightaway. Great evasive driving from Lucas Elias in the 08. Yeah, how about a hand? I see some people applauding. Great driving right there to avoid a T-bone or any other kind of collision for that matter. Adam Turner maintaining his lead, but for how long? What has happened to that car? Suddenly he stopped on the back straightaway, or next to stopping. Your new leader, the 5F of Tyler Fair. What a shame for Adam Turner in the 16T. Started this race right at the front row on the inside. He's now heading to the pits. All right, folks, make some noise for your winner, Tyler Fair. Rounding out the top three, Lucas Elias in the 08 and Ryan Mason in the 23R. Fair, Elias, and Mayman all making their way to the appraisalpro.ca scale. While they're doing that, we're going to send out heat race number 4 for the MRC Calden Welding Mid-Canada stock cars. Here's your projected starting lineup for that one. All by himself in row number 3, the 96 of Sean Perdonic out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. On the outside of row 2 is the 927X of Taylor Christian out of Richer. On the inside, the 62 of Jason Bronk out of West St. Paul, Manitoba. And in your front row on the outside is the 91 driven by Morgan McDonald out of Mitchell, Manitoba. And on the inside, the 17K of Caden LeBute out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Eight laps on the board for this one. Jason Bronx started in row number 2, but it only took 2 corners for him to take the lead. Let's see what he can do with 7.5 to go. Great battle for third as we get the back half of the field all bunched together. Taylor Christian has it for now. Looks like that position could belong to any of those three, though. Christian now taking second from Brodonic. Bronx still has the lead. Let's see if he can maintain it, though, coming around this corner. Looks like he will, folks. Oh boy. How about that? Taylor Christian, everybody. What a race. Second place, the number 62 of Jason Bronk and Sean Brodonic in the 96, coming in third. In the staging area, those would happen to be the Wissota Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue. Coming up, we got 3 heat races in this division. Here's your projected starting lineup for heat race number 1. All by himself in row number 4, Lars Voss in the 55 out of Grunthal. On the outside of row number 3 is Jeff Rempel in the 12 out of St. Adolphe. Paul Viertz on the inside driving the 88 out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. Row number 2 on the outside is Memphis Clausen driving the 47K out of Winkler. Garrett Veldman's on the inside of that row driving the 83X out of Carmen. And in your front row on the outside is the 07 HD of Aidan McCuskey out of New Bothwell. And on the inside, the number 14 driven by Lindsay DeRoche out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, folks, if you want a free hat courtesy of Brenda right in front of me here, make some noise. She's got current hats, she's got retro hats. Battle for the lead going on between Aidan McCuskey and Memphis Clausen, 47K. '83 of Garrett Veldman getting a bit out of sorts there, but keeping it on track. Heck of a battle between McCuskey and Clausen. Let's see who brings it home with 3.5 to go. Memphis comes around the outside, takes the lead for now. Can he hold on to it? I didn't see all of that, but I saw Lars Voss in the 55 ricocheting off the front wall here by the front straightaway. Lars heading for the pits. Looks like there's a bit of debris right between turns 1 and 2. We'll just get that sorted out. Get back to racing. 3 laps to go. Your new leader there, Memphis Clausen, had just taken the lead within 2 laps. Let's see if Aiden McCuskey in the 07 will let him have it that easily. Three to go, folks. The 12 of Jeff Rempel almost losing it entirely going up that corner, but thankfully he managed to stay in. That was a close one there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your winner, Memphis Clausen. Rounding out the top 3, Aiden McCuskey in the 07 HD and Paul Veert in the 88. We'll get these 3 over to the appraisalpro.ca scale. In this division, they must weigh a minimum of 2,625 pounds. Up next, folks, heat race number 2 for your Wissota Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue. Here's your projected starting lineup for this one. On the outside of row number 3, Maddock Mulholland driving the 171 out of Winnipeg. Dylan McCoggan in the 77X is on the inside. Dylan is driving out of St. Francois Xavier. On the outside of row number 2, Maddox Clausen from Winkler driving the M47. Victoria Stutsky's on the inside driving the 24 out of St. Andrews. And in your front row on the outside, the 33A of Austin Overwater out of Winnipeg. And on the inside, Hunter Besson in the 4B Junior out of East St. Paul. How about that? 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. Besson, Stutsky, and McCoggan all right there in the fight. Looks to be an entertaining one coming up. Two and a half to go as McCoggan inches ever closer to the lead. Let's see if he will get it. Looks like he's got it. Folks, make some noise for your winner, Dylan McCoggan. Rounding out the top three, Hunter Besson in the 4B Junior and Victoria Stutsky in the 24 finished in third. Your projected starting line for this one, 6 vehicles in this race. On the outside of row number 3, Nick Audette in the number 20, driving out of St. Adolphe, Manitoba. On the inside, the 44 of Austin Hunter out of Winnipeg. Rebecca Stutsky's on the outside of row number 2, driving the 24 Junior out of St. Andrews, Manitoba. Ryan Veldman in the 72R is on the inside, driving out of Lorette. And in your front row on the outside is Lance Ralph in the 54 out of Winnipeg. And on the inside, the 15 of Glenn Manning from Oakbank, Manitoba. Great battle between Manning and Ralph for the lead on the back straightaway. Stutsky right there in third, but here comes Austin Overwater. Excuse me, Austin Hunter in the 44. of Ryan Beltman doing a 360 at the end of turn number 4. One and a half to go. Looks like Rebecca Stutsky's itching for the lead. Can she get it? All right, folks, let's hear it for your winner, Glenn Manning. Rounding out the top 3, the 24 of Rebecca Stutsky and the 44 of Austin Hunter. The scale coming up next, folks. It's the first and only for tonight's heat race for the Super Trucks. 9 trucks in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 5, the 27 of Hayden Audette driving out of St. Adolphe. Dan Klim from Dougald's on the outside of row number 4. He's driving the 38. Jason Somax on the inside driving the 3 out of West St. Paul. On the outside of row 3, Hayden Veldman driving the 13 out of Carmen. Kyle Swaffers on the inside driving the 10 out of Winnipeg. Row number 2 on the outside, Mercedes Krause driving the 20 out of St. Adolphe, Manitoba. Chris Audette, also from St. Adolphe, on the inside, driving the 2. And in your front row, Derek Sorello, driving the 22s on the outside. Derek's out of Richer, Manitoba. And on the inside, Taylor Audette, driving the number 9 out of St. Adolphe. Mr. Consistency, Chris Audette takes the lead in about half a lap. Let's see if he can hold on to it. Lap traffic about to be a factor, not even halfway through the race, as Audette looks to get by Price. And he does so with a car that kind of hits it. All right, folks, let's hear it for your winner, the number 2, Chris Audette. Finishing in second, right behind him, the number 38, Dan Klim, and in third place, fittingly enough, number 3, Jason Somack. Get your top 3 all on to the appraisalpro.ca scale. In this division, the Super Trucks, they need to reach a minimum of... Well, maybe they're not t-shirts. Well, she's handing out something. Up next, folks, here comes your heat race for the Wissota Modifieds. 7 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by herself. In row number 4, Sierra Staff driving the 7S out of East St. Paul. On the outside of row number 3 is the 39 of Sean Tunis out of Stony Mountain. Scott Greer is on the inside out of Winnipeg driving the Wendy-sponsored 5G car. On the outside of row number 2 is the 71 of Nico Voss out of Sardo, Manitoba. Jerome Guillot out of Fanistel, Manitoba is on the inside driving the 48. And in your front row is the 4B of Brandon Rehill and the 1R of Rick Delane. Won this division for the last 3 years. What happened to the 1R? Rick Delane pulling into the infield and the rest of the field. Greer's your new winner. Leader. As Jerome Guillot, not sure what's going on with his car. Going slow in the infield there. Getting into turn number 3. He'll stay on the track. Looks like he will. Folks, he's coming out of turn 4. Let's hear it for your winner, Scott Greer. In second, the 39 of Sean Tunis, and in third, the 4B of Brandon Rehill. Here comes the Mid-Canada Limited Late Models. 6 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, Paul Veert in the 88 out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. On the inside, Brandon Rehill in the 24 out of St. Andrews. Also from St. Andrews, Rebecca Stutzky on the outside, driving the 48. Ryan Karalik is also from St. Andrews. He's on the inside of that row, driving the 97. Ton of people from St. Andrews in this race. Victoria Stutzky on the outside of row number 1. She's driving the 00. And on the inside, Jared Kaliniak driving the number 6. He's not from St. Andrews. He's from Marquette, Manitoba. Here comes the Mid-Canada Limited Late Models. 6 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, Paul Veert in the 88 out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. On the inside, Brandon Rehill in the 24 out of St. Andrews. Also from St. Andrews, Rebecca Stutzky on the outside, driving the 48. Ryan Karalik is also from St. Andrews. He's on the inside of that row, driving the 97. Ton of people from St. Andrews in this race. Victoria Stutzky on the outside of row number 1. She's driving the 00. And on the inside, Jared Kaliniak driving the number 6. He's not from St. Andrews. He's from Marquette, Manitoba. And just a reminder, folks, at intermission, we'll have the Roll Projects Candy Toss at the flag stand, right where Carl is standing. Also, we'll be having at the DJ booth a kids' dance-off. Bear with us, as I believe we're waiting for a driver who just competed in a previous division. All right, now we've got all 6 of those late models out there ready to go. Eight laps on the board here for your Mid-Canada Limited Late Model Heat Race. Great start for Victoria Stutzky. She's not pulling any punches tonight. Well, folks, she made it look pretty easy out there. Let's hear it for your winner, Victoria Stutsky. Second, the 96 of Jared Flynn. And the 97 of Ryan Carell coming in third. All by themselves in row 11, Riley Klim out of Dugald, Manitoba, driving the number 6. On the outside of row 10, Rylan Enting driving the 17E out of Winkler, Manitoba. On the inside, Adam Turner in the 16T out of Marchand. On the outside of row number 9, Caitlin Somack driving the number 8. Caitlin's out of West St. Paul. On the inside is Derek Poirier from St. Adolphe driving the number 3. On the outside of row number 8, the 07 HD of Bentley McCuskey out of New Bothwell. On the inside is Caden LeBute driving the 17K out of Winnipeg. On the outside of row number 7, Dave Rogers in the 45 out of Winnipeg. Inside of him, out of Mitchell, Manitoba, Morgan McDonald driving the 91. On the outside of row number 6, the 21F of Tommy Fair out of Winkler, Manitoba. Sean Perdonix on the inside driving the 96 out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. On the outside of row 5, the 23R of Ryan Mayman. On the inside, the 46 of Michael Kopp from Oakbank. On the outside of row 4, the 927X of Taylor Christian from Richer. On the inside, Evan Marchand from Niverville driving the number 1. Row number 3 on the outside, the 08 of Lucas Elias from Winnipeg, Manitoba. The 207 of Justin Krause is on the inside. Justin comes to us from Richer. Row number 2 on the outside, Tobin Keefe driving the 16 from Winnipeg. Jason Bronx on the inside, driving the 62 from West St. Paul. And in your front row on the outside is Jeff Kopp, driving the 47 out of Oakbank, Manitoba. And on the inside, Tyler Fair in the 5F out of Rosengards. 15 laps on the board. Good battle between Fair and Bronx for the lead right now.
Good battle up front here.
Justin Krause getting a bit squirrely on the back. The 207 there lost a position or two. Look at that battle for third. It's a four-horse race right now. Justin Krause in the 207 has it for the moment. Jeff Kopp right behind him in the 47.
Rosenberg in the 62 continues to lead this way. Running that low line coming out of turn 2 right now. The battle for second place here.
Krause looking to make a move on Fair. Adam for a second. Oh, he almost loses it. Let's see. Will he overcorrect? He keeps it split. There's a ton of momentum out there. Tumbling down the order. He was in second. Now he's down in 6th. The 927X of Taylor Christian. Surely that'll be the yellow. Trying to get out of harm's way. Oh, that was yellow. Look at that. How about a round of applause for Taylor Christian, everybody?
They're coming out of turn 4 right now, and a 5, a little bit losing horns on them now.
Yeah, opening up the door for Evan Marchand to come underneath, but Fair holds on. Out for lap traffic could be a factor within a lap or two. Let's catch up with the back of the pack.
Jason Brown continues to lead us down out of 3 and 4 now. A young car trying to make some ground on him here with 4 laps to go as we get past the flagstone. Behind the 5. This will make it a little bit interesting as the drivers have to maneuver through the rock traffic. Here's Ben Marchand in the wall, 1 second right now, and I think he's gaining a little bit on Brown car as he goes into 3 now. We might have a battle for the lead, but the 2 laps to go. 1 lap to go, sorry. Interesting car. Sometimes the leader doesn't know how close that second place car is, and it can be a little deceiving.
Going to do a U-turn and come on down to the flag stand here for an interview with Larry. We'll just get Jason get his helmet off here, and you give him a big round of applause as soon as he gets out of the car. I think he's won every race this year so far.
Very nice choice. Jason Black, hello. Hello up here, Jason. It's a familiar place up here for you. Once again, the car looks, oh, no problem there. Car looks good, once again, nice and smooth out there.
Oh yeah, that was probably one of the funnest races I've had in a long time. I was able to run the bottom here and then run the middle over there, so we had a nice 2-lane track, and nothing the 62 likes more than a 2-lane track.
Oh, it is nice when you can get a few lanes out there for sure. And it was a tricky day today. The high wind and sunny and hot. Hard to keep the track tacky, but it looked like it wasn't bad out there.
Oh yeah, I see. It was really good. Like I said, the middle of 3 and 4 here had a lot of traction still, and I was able to move around the past lap cars, and I was seeing like I was the only one that could really run the bottom coming out of 2 and 3 or 1 and 2, and here I am.
And it works. Well, I want to thank the sponsors.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Wrangler Truck Service, Industrial Metals, Maxon, Derek Sandblasting, Maldown Racing Engines, and all you fans are coming out tonight.
All right. Hey, we got a kid's trophy. A kid's trophy. Just make your way on that way if you want, or whoever you want to give it to. Yeah.
Wherever you want.
Yeah, okay. Anybody doing pictures?
All right, folks. Brenda's got some merch up here. If you want some merch from Brenda, make some noise. Just nailed someone in the head. Oh, boy. Before we get on to the next lineup for the Wissota Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue, a number of you filled out an end package in front of me. So if your name, I'll go through these names one by one, and you can meet the folks at Red Bomb right by the Red Bomb car, right at the top of the hill. Here are the names: Norby Gearing, Stanley Stark, Rod Delane, and Heather Simpson. If you're one of those people, head on over to the Red Bomb Fireworks vehicle. They'll get you hooked up with the package that you want. Now, folks, time for the second feature race of the night. Time for the Midwest Mods by Big Smoke Barbecue. 19 vehicles in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by himself in row number 10, the 55 of Lars Voss out of Grunthal, Manitoba. On the outside of row number 9, Lindsay DeRoche driving the 14 out of Winnipeg. On the inside, Ryan Veltman driving the 72R from Lorette. Maddock Mulholland is on the outside of row number 8, driving the 171 out of Winnipeg. Lance Ralph, also from Winnipeg, is on the inside, driving the 54. Austin Overwater is on the outside of row number 7, driving the 33A out of Winnipeg. From Carmen, Garrett Veltman is on the inside, driving the 83X. On the outside of row number 6, Nick Audette, driving the number 20 from St. Adolphe. Maddox Clausen from Winkler is on the inside, driving the M47. Row number 5 on the outside of number 12, Jeff Remmer from St. Adolphe. St. Andrews, Rebecca Sutton is on the inside, driving the 24 Junior. Outside of row number 4, Austin Hunter driving the 44 from Winnipeg. On the inside, Glenn Manning driving the 15. Row 3 on the outside, the 07 HD of Aiden McCuskey from New Bothwell. On the inside, the 88 of Paul Beard from Winnipeg. Victoria Stutsky is on the outside of row number 6, driving the 24 from St. Andrews. Junior Hunter Benson is on the inside, Hunter from East St. Paul. And in your front row, on the outside, Memphis Clausen driving the 47K from Winkler. And on the inside, look up to this side, the 77X of Dylan McCauley from St. Francois Xavier.
A little bit of a mouthful. Well, this is going to be a good race. We've got, what have we got, 20 laps here? 19, wow. All right, folks, strap your seat belt on. We're going to have a good one.
Making its way towards the back straightaway. Oh, that's Victoria Stutsky, the 24. What a shame.
Yeah, she was looking good. I'm not sure what happened there. Got into some marbles off the back of the track, maybe. I'm not sure, but she looks to be, the car looks good, so we'll see if she can continue to stay in this race here. All right, we're going to lap down, and we're going to have a restart here. So then we'll start Delaware style, where the lead car starts up front, and then every other car starts double row behind them. Just checking with Bill McKenna, race director tonight. Bill retired as race director, but he's filling in for Bill Hines tonight. So the Delaware starts are originated from the Delaware Speedway. So that's why they came up with. So the leader starts out by himself up front, and as I mentioned, the cars line up 2 by 2 behind. The interesting part, the second place car gets to choose low line or high line. So depending on where the nice line on the track is, you get to pick where you want to start behind the leader, high or low. All right, looks like our lineup is good here, Wells. We've got 14 laps to go. We're on the back straightaway. You should see a green flag.
will get McCoggan, and in these features, we get the top 5 all patiently waiting. McCoggan in this division, they need to weigh a minimum of 2,625 pounds, if memory serves. Yes. McCoggan approaching the scale now, awaiting confirmation.
He gets those safety equipment on his strap, put on the sponsor's hat. There he is, folks. How about it?
Can't thank my motor builder Kerry enough. It's his birthday today, so glad to get it done for him.
I look good. I heard you did well on the weekend down in Lynn. How'd that go?
Yeah, we finished deep Friday and ended up 5th, and then we started, I think, 2nd row and then on Saturday and ended up winning it. So,
all right, nice. 2 in a row. Got some sponsors, Winnipeg?
Yeah, McCoggan Builders, Shore Farms, Prime Fasteners, Tritech, Treadstone Gold, Phoenix. What else we got? We got Bandman Construction, Perfectly Raw, TriStar, MC Hammer, and then just my dad and my motor builder Kerry.
All right, we're the Common Crew down there. All right, we got a kid's trophy for you to give away. And your big check here. All right. Back to us.
Thank you, Larry. All right, folks, coming up next, you can see them in the staging area. Time for the Super Truck feature. Not all by himself in row number 5, the 27 of Hayden Audette out of St. Adolphe. On the outside of row number 4, Derek Sorello from Richard driving the 22. On the inside is the number 10 of Kyle Swaper out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. On the outside of row number 3, the 13 of Hayden Bellman from Carmen. Taylor Audette is on the inside. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Larry.
Sorry, Will, we just want to let people know we're going to do the 50-50 draw right now, so if you guys want to get your tickets out, the winner I'm looking at, it's $810 for somebody, and here we go.
Howdy y'all, my name is Ravi. I'm with the Society of Automotive Engineers from the University of Manitoba. We build cars, we build planes, we build buggies, and the money you guys donate helps support us. So thank you very much for tonight. All right, let's see ahead. All right, red, so that's 8, 6, 1, 4, 0, 6. That will be 8, 6, 1, 4, 0, 6.
If you have the winning, oh, we see a winner back there. I'll meet you at the vendor. We have a winner. $810.
Don't spend it all at the moment, not all of it.
All right, folks, I will just briefly go over this lineup once again. Row number 5, the 27 of Hayden Audette. On the outside of row number 4, the 22 of Derek Sorello. Kyle Swappers on the inside, driving the number 10. On the outside of row number 3, Hayden Veltman driving the 13. Taylor Audette's on the inside, driving the number 9. Jason Somack is on the outside of row number 2. Jason's driving the number 3. Chris Audette's on the inside, driving the number 2 out of St. Adolphe. And in your front row, Mercedes Krause is on the outside, driving the 20 out of St. Adolphe. And on the inside, the 38 of Dan Klin from Dougal.
All right, super trucks. This is one of my favorites. This is a class actually started here at Victory Lane Speedway back in 1997, I believe, was the first year we ran the trucks. So it's they've always been here. It's a class that made the cast car trucks, even the trucks that run the Winston Cup now. So very similar. Of course, they're more restricted on the engine program and stuff like that, but the chassis are very similar to what they race in the big league. All right, here we go.
We might have a false start here, folks.
So just let people know, when the flagman just drops it, he doesn't wave it, that's to make sure the vehicles will proceed. They don't hammer on the brakes or anything like that because it would cause a pileup. So they just drops the green, lets the cars or trucks go by, and then they do a restart. So it's a false start, and Carl seen something he didn't like, and he's going to get them lined up again here. I don't know if anybody's getting penalized, but he's showing the rolled up green indicating 1 lap to go. And we've got to keep them in a nice tight formation, and then not to get on the throttle until, if you're looking at turn 4, you'll see a couple of white tires there with cones in them. They need to hit that cone, don't hit the cone, but get by the cone, and the green flag will wave in that area. Trucks to watch out there. Of course, that number 2 has won a lot of races here. Starting second row inside.
I don't call him Mr. Consistency for nothing.
That truck's a good truck. These two trucks. This is going to be the battle for the lead here. Not bad, back number 2 as they're going to turn 3 now. Last month, or 2 weeks ago, these two trucks battled it out once again for the lead. Met that out in the clear straight ball. I think they were right by 2 to go, and they ended up taking the lead. Dan Klin won most of the races. So far, that's where he is on front, and I'm sure he's hoping to stay that way. You can just see the darkness of the track. That's a little more moisture where the track is darker. So all those in the mid-road where my van is running right now, or some of those are sliding up to that top and catching a bit of a cushion up there. bets mixed up is 24. This is not traffic before. This is going to make it interesting. You need to move anywhere around if you're in second. The payment is you can't go faster than you move out of that line, so it's a little tricky. There's been a high line here in turn 4, but puts it back underneath. Just letting down turn low, he's still right behind him.
Now we'll get your top 5 all over to the appraisalpro.ca scale here in the Super Truck division. These vehicles need to weigh a minimum of 2,800 pounds. All right, Larry, I'll turn things over to you.
Now we're going to do our draw for the Truly umbrella. So if you purchased a Truly drink tonight, you have a chance to win an umbrella. We're going to keep drawing until we have a winner. So I'll give you about like 1 minute. Here. Okay, it is a white ticket. Ticket number 675247.
All right, we're going to get Dan climb out of the super truck here right away. And we're going to make some noise when he gets out, folks. There he is, Dan Climb, right here. Welcome to Victory Lane. How's it feel out there?
It's fun. Wide open.
It looked very fast.
Yeah, I'm still catching my breath.
That's the problem with this old guys racing here. You gotta leave it for the younger guys. They got more stamina.
Yeah, well, I've been coming here since '91 when I was 9 years old, so I just can't stop coming here.
Truck looks good. That's our own race truck. You got her dialed in.
Dialed in, yeah.
She looked like, I know you always like to run that high ride and handsome look. She kept her on that little on the loose side and it worked for you.
Work tonight, so that matters.
Nice. I got some sponsors, I think.
Out-on Racing Engines, FM Welding, and my work, you're down in Maristeel and Selkirk.
All right, we got kids trophy here for you. Give away to one of the kids.
Okay, last call for ticket number 675247. Going once? Anybody have the winning ticket? Going twice? Gone! Next one! Yeah, keep going. Okay, another winning ticket. 675253. 675253. Somebody else have the ticket who purchased it truly in the last 3 hours. Give me another one. I got one. Next one. 675210. 675210. 675250. 675250. Does nobody want a Truly umbrella? Oh, we have a winner. Meet me at the vendor.
That's it.
All right, folks, for the second time, I've got someone up here in the booth telling me they've been locked in the parking lot. So if you're the owner of a white Buick, license plate HRR 605, please move your vehicle. I think I've called that license plate twice tonight. There's also a red Ford, focus maybe? A red Ford license plate Ivy Mike, IVYMIKE. If either of those owners of those vehicles could move them, Dennis here would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Coming up next, folks, feature race number 4 on the night. Time for the Wissota Modifieds. Here's your projected starting lineup. All by herself in row number 4, Sierra Staff in the 7S out of East St. Paul. On the outside of row number 3, the 1R of Rick Delane out of Stony Mountain. Jerome Guillot out of Fanny Cell is on the inside. Jerome's driving the 48. On the outside of row number 2, the 39 of Sean Tunis. Sean's also out of Stony Mountain. Nico Voss is on the inside, driving the 71 out of Sardo. And in your front row, the 4B of Brandon Rehill's on the outside. Brandon's out of St. Andrews, Manitoba. And in the Wendy's-sponsored 5G car on the inside, Scott Greer out of Winnipeg, Manitoba.
So Sarah Staff, so that's a third-generation racer. So Rod Staff would be her grandfather, and her dad, Danny Staff. So it's 3 generations of racing modified. So very cool. I need my glasses to see better, but this is pretty good. I can read. So Scott Greer started on the pole. Now Scott won 2 weeks ago. Him and Rick Delane had a battle. Again, it was one of those races, door to door, right to the last few laps. And Scott Greer just finding a little more bite coming out of 2 and scooped Rick and picked up the win. So we'll see. We'll see if Rick can return the favor. So. The number 1. Now, I know had some troubles in the heat race, so maybe there's something else going on. So we're just waiting to see if he's going to make it out onto the track here. Looks like we're going to go, folks. Second place. They're in the back straight here between yes, there's this slow jab animals there. Look at this battle down the first. what happens. Sure does. We'll go back to the last completed lap, which puts us at 3 laps to go.
Kids, please stay in your seats till the race is over. Yeah, Carl, you got a bunch of kids.
Kids, you can't stand by the gate. You have to stay in your seats.
You are going to be up.
Keep in mind, the only thing between you and that race car going 100 miles an hour is that curb shot. So you might want to sit back a little bit.
Once again, we'd like to thank our race day sponsor here for Victory Lane Speedway's 53rd birthday. Red Ball Fireworks. Stay tuned, folks. Right after the limited mod feature, we'll be having a fireworks display courtesy of Red Ball.
So one more feature race and then we will have fireworks to go. They're really great to see out here. They'll shut the lights off. Looks like we're going to get into the dark a little bit, so that'll be perfect. All right, right here. Scott Brown with 5. Here on the 48. This is going to be a good race. 4 laps to go.
Not quite green, white checkers. Get the top 5 on the Appraisal Pro.ca scale in this division. They must weigh a minimum of 2,400 pounds. Kids down there, yeah, please look above and follow Carl's instructions.
right, we're going to get Scott out of the car here. Alberta first, Scott Green, big winner here. I got elected to be an announcer again here. All right, another big win. How's it going out there?
Carl's interesting out there. A little bit of rough on the front straightaway here, but same for everyone. Thanks to all those great fans for coming out. Really appreciate it. Got to thank Rob for racing. Obviously, had a bit of a episode on Saturday night in Norton, but we got it back together. Thanks to my dad for all his hard work. Wendy's, Rob Fair Racing, anti-gravity batteries, FLA Motorsports, Vortex starters, MB Customs, Miller Racing engines, and again, my lovely wife and my beautiful kids. So appreciate everyone for coming out. Thank you so much.
You make my job very easy there. I got a trophy to give away for the kids.
Of the night, this is the Mid-Canada Limited Late Model Feature. 6 race cars in this one. Here's your projected starting lineup. On the outside of row number 3, Rebecca Stutzky, the 48 out of St. Andrews. Ryan Karalik, also from St. Andrews, is on the inside. He's driving the 97. Jared Kaliniak is on the outside of row number 2, driving the 96 out of Marquette, Manitoba. Brandon Rehill's on the inside, driving the 24 from St. Andrews. And in your front row, the 88 of Paul Veert from Winnipeg on the outside. And on the inside, Victoria Stutzky. Look out for her. She won the heat race before, I believe. Fifteen laps on the board here in your final race of the night.
Saved by our little driver who did not cause any damage. It's always one of those situations where someone spins right in the middle of the pack, but quick heads up by all the drivers behind. So most of the vehicles run a quick change rear end, which kind of locks it into gear. There's not really, there's a clutch, but it's not like a clutch you can just push in and and release the transmission. So what happens is they get stuck in gear, and sometimes you have to use a push truck to give them a little nudge, and they can get them out of gear and then fire them back up. You'll see that. Yeah, you'll see that happen where you're thinking, why don't you just start the car and go? Well, it's a lot of times it's stuck in gear and having trouble trying to get her fired up again. Well, we didn't get a lap in, so we still got 15 laps up on the board. Well, this is a low class here at Victory Lane Speedway. It's a limited late model class. They run a restricted engine program, unlike the late models you'd see running in Grand Forks and places like that. Keeps the costs down, makes it affordable for guys to go out racing. All right, we're going to go down. Right now. Be starting. 97 was in third spot. Brian Kurlick, so now we'll start in the second row side by side. As I mentioned, with the day we're set, so Carl Burke will have the choice to start high or low, depending on where he thinks is the best chance of him passing the leader. Well, primary wire. Looks like we're going single file. That was dangerous just to aggravate me. Oh, we're all doing nowhere, see? We're going to have a good little race here. The top three here is definitely anyone who can win this one. Let's get him up here. You guys keep watching his fireworks. We can keep talking. How you doing? It looks like you're having some fun out there.
Yeah, I'm having a blast. 2 cars a night is kind of tough, but in the heat end especially, but we're having a lot of fun.
Getting a little workout out there. So this particular car, what motor's in that motor?
Well, I don't even own the car. Rob Stelsky actually owns it. I think it's a 5.3 RS motor. It's, we let it sing every night I drive it, so it's doing good so far.
It looked good out there. Very dialed in. We had the 88 beat, and it looked good out there.
Yeah, since the middle of the year when I started driving, my goal was to beat Pro one night. I just like to brag a little bit to him, but I have a blast running against him every week in the B mod, late model, whatever we drive is always fun against him. And the rest of the crew that races these limited late models with us too, we all have fun together.
All right, you got some sponsors or everybody you want to pay? You probably don't normal.
No, just Rob Stelsky actually called me in the beginning of the year, telling me to come driving, and we worked on it the other night and shot for a few hours together, had a blast doing that, and I think we got it figured out now, because last week, or the time I drove it last time, it was a little hot, and the throttle sucked, no brakes, but we got it dialed in now.
Now, I understand some of these cars may be for sale. People could buy one of these.
Oh yeah, if you got one of them limited limos, come talk to Rob, or give him a call, and he'll hook you up with a car.
Looks like a lot of fun. Okay, we got a trophy here for the kids here, Brennan.
Thank you to Red Bomb Fireworks for that awesome display, and thanks to each and every one of you wonderful fans for helping us celebrate our 53rd birthday. We'll be back next week, Thursday, July 30th, for another edition of Thursday Night Thunder. We hope to see you then. Take care, everybody.